I challenged my friends and fellow creators to the ultimate Planet Zoo build-off. They will have 3 hours to complete a habitat from a randomly generated prompt. Then, those builds will be thrown into the ring to see who wins. Don't forget to stick around until the end of the video because you guys, yes you guys, will be voting on who crushed this competition. We've got numbers 1 through 28 on the board. I did actually remember to put in the correct amount. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, number 13 is East Asian. And it's almost exactly 3 hours from now, so everyone feel free to start building. This theme was definitely out of my comfort zone, so I spent the first 10 minutes or so just messing around with the terrain tools and trying to think of what to build. I really enjoyed the fantasy theme of last episode's challenge, so I wanted to incorporate some of those fantastical elements into an East Asian build. I was looking around on Google Images to see what sort of options I had to choose from. I actually saw a few buildings that reminded me of the game Palia. I don't know if any of you guys play Palia, but it's like a cozy farming sim / collecting MMO that just came out, and it has a lot of architecture inspired by a mix of East Asian and European fantasy aesthetics. So that was my stepping off point. Whether or not I achieved this look is a different question. I wanted to make a little diorama style build, but without using the diorama mode, once again like I did in last episode. The terrain process was very similar to last time. I shaped a raised terrain platform and surrounded it with a moat of water. Then I actually had to work on the building. I chose to build for snow leopards because I wanted something that climbed, and others were already building for pandas, so I wanted to avoid being a copycat. Laying out the shape of the building, which would be our focal point, was really difficult. I didn't want to do something that was just square shaped. You'll notice that over the course of this footage that the shape of the building changes a few times. This is just me making it smaller and after realizing that it is not a wise idea to build too big. And I still think it should have been made smaller. One of the things that I noticed in my reference photos is that many of the buildings have stone bases, so I decided to copy that. It may be hard to see on the final product, but I had that stone base get slightly wider at the bottom in an attempt to make the whole building look bigger. I also tried to copy the wood beams that go across the sides of the buildings in my references. There were so many different styles and it was really hard to replicate, but I did my best. Looking back, I do wish that I had maybe chosen a different color here, maybe a pink to match the roof, which, speaking of roofs, something that is really iconic about East Asian architecture is that the roofs tend to have those bits at the end that slope up. I think they look super cool, and they were pretty much present in all of my reference pictures. Here's the thing though, I was dead set on having a pink roof, and the East Asian theme set that comes in the Planet Zoo base game is not flexi-color, and I thought that the black color of the roof looked way too plain with the white walls for this build. I tried to achieve the same roof shape with the flexi-color clay-tiled roof pieces, but the corners always looked so messed up. The pieces underneath kept peeking out, and I decided to just scrap them all together. I probably should not have done that because when I look back, it just looked like a normal European roof, and that is not what I was going for. Even when I put decorations on the edges of the roof, they weren't big enough at all. I even tried to double layer the main roof pieces, but that didn't have the effect I wanted either. I was so lost and frustrated at this point, but the timer was halfway up, so I had to keep going. Since 90% of my building experience during these 3 hours was making the roof, here is even more roof building content. Don't take a shot every time I say roof, or you will probably get alcohol poisoning. I decided to build a very small second level to the house to at least get some of that concave roof sloping action, but once again, I couldn't get it to look right even with the free build mod. You can actually kind of see the pieces clipping together, so that was as far as I could push the slope, unfortunately. Frontier, if you're watching, please make the East Asian clay roof set flexi color. Something I do like about this build are the windows. Thankfully, the windows in the dedicated East Asia set are flexi color, so it was easy to just add them right in and match the wood tone. I even did my best to customize them to make them look unique to this building. I adorned them with sloped frames and layered the window pieces on top of one another to get unique shapes. For the window at the very front of the building, I used a big round window because it fit my vision perfectly. I actually wish it was a little bit bigger or that it stood out more because it was easily my favorite part of the house. I think that the window piece is actually a door, but I used it as a window because we don't have a lot of round windows. Finally, I had to do the landscaping. This is usually the first thing I do when decorating a habitat, but today it was the last. I placed down rocks over every terrain surface that was visible, even behind the little building I made, since it was built into a hill. You may also notice that I snuck in a water wheel. I thought that this made sense since the building was placed right on the side of a riverbank. I added in lots of lush, pretty plants like bamboo, ferns, and of course, cherry blossom trees. Pretty much the whole reason for the pink roof was to match the color of the cherry blossom trees, and they did fit right in, especially on top of the hill behind the house. During this decorating phase, I added one blueprint, which was a miniature pagoda. I'll link it in the description. I used it as a roof ornament and also placed one near a cherry tree just to fill in the space. I added things like a boat, a waterfall, because of course, and a little bridge that goes over the waterfall, which leads straight to the front door. My last detail was I strung up some paper lanterns from the building over the river to light up the water. And of course, a climbing pole so the snow leopards could get on top of the roof. And that is pretty much my build. I'm not super happy about it. Well, pretty much just the roof because it doesn't really look like the reference pictures I was using at all. Should have just used the East Asian roof set, but it was what I did during the time limit, so you guys get to see that today. That brings us to the end of my build, but wait, don't go yet. The most important part is about to commence. It's time for you all to look over mine and my fellow creators' builds and decide which one you like the best. Click the link in the description below to cast your vote. The voting will end on Saturday, December 2nd, so make sure to get your votes in on time. And after you're done voting, let us know down in the comments which one you guys like best, and don't forget to leave a like while you're down there. The other content creators who participated also made some cool videos of their builds, so make sure to give those a watch. If you enjoyed this challenge, you're in luck because this isn't the last of these build-offs. In fact, this is only the second episode, so if you want to see episode 3, make sure to subscribe and don't forget to check back next week to see who won the build-off. If you're a content creator who wants to be on the show, let me know down in the comments and we can get you on. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.